right, welcome back to Liquid Lunches. Me, Hugh, and my co-host today is the incredible Yaz from California. There
Hello,
she
hello everybody.
is. And our guest right now is Martin Ricketts, also known as Kiyoshi, the Digital Samurai. And Martin, it's great to have you on the show. I can't even remember if we had you on before, but
I think maybe maybe we talked about it. I think we were on with somebody. I can't remember a while ago.
But now we're talking about the Digital Samurai because, as like most people in business these days, we're always tweaking our strategy, tweaking our approach, and we're going to talk about what it is to be a digital samurai and what you do for other companies. So, first of all, great to have you here.
Thanks a lot.
Yes, thank you.
And I know you guys have been having a great conversation before we got started today.
Yeah. Yep. I'm wearing my England shawl, and you're from England originally?
I am. I was born in London. First you press the home key, the circle at the bottom of your smartphone. That brings up the Google Now.
Okay.
I set up my old, you can either say, okay, British Google, passport or press the microphone. When I was 6, so. And then start
We'd
talking.
like to see that sometime.
You say call.
And you just got back from Japan?
I did.
And the general location. You don't have to have the specific location.
Festival.
And then Google Now will call.
The organization I'm in is the oldest martial arts organization in Japan. It's founded in 1,200 years ago. And the new version of it now is all about spreading world peace through Budo, through martial arts. Because martial arts is about respect and all of that sort of thing, and honor. And so that's what we were celebrating. And I was there for an event. And actually, a princess of the imperial family made a guest appearance, which was pretty amazing when I was there. Yeah.
And how did it feel? I'm just curious, the vibe in Japan these days, you know, post-Fukushima and all that kind of stuff. Like, how are people over there feeling? And
well, the Japanese are very resilient, and they're also, they don't show that sort of thing in public. So, I mean, Tokyo is just crazy. I was in Kyoto for the first part of it. That's the old capital, and that's where the event was. And it's amazing. There's thousands of temples in Kyoto.
So much history.
Yeah, because it wasn't bombed in the Second World War. There's a neat story around that, but it wasn't bombed, and so all these temples from hundreds of years ago are still there.
wow.
And you know, you'll have a temple, and then you have a mall, or a temple within a mall. They just built all the infrastructure around all these temples.
Did you go to any of the temples?
Oh, sure did.
Meditate?
Yeah, we did. You go there, and they've got different things that you can do to meditate in front of this statue or that statue, and a lot of tourist type stuff. But we were fortunate because we were guests of the imperial family to get a private showing in one of the temples where we had a ceremony and all that kind of stuff. And it was
that is
pretty neat.
You know, Martin, I got to ask you, because this is, we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of Digital Samurai as a business, but what's the story of how you got involved in the whole samurai, you know, thing?
Well, you know, I started martial arts when I was 13, and now I'm slightly older. So almost 40 years of training, and I started because I was being bullied. Martial arts is fantastic for kids. I would recommend karate or any martial art, taekwondo, for kids. It teaches them focus, confidence, all those things. It's fantastic. A lot of people think at first, oh, it teaches you to fight. Well, it teaches you to fight so that you don't have to. Fighting is, and sport fighting, combat, and sword is a really good way of teaching you emotional control, because it puts you in harm's way. It puts you in front of somebody who's trying to punch you and kick you and all that sort of stuff. And in a controlled environment, that has a very positive effect of teaching you emotional control and focus. You have to focus because you have to perform while you're stressed out and maybe scared because you're not used to it. But over time, you learn to focus and you learn these things. And the greater value, you get your black belt in 3 to 5 years of martial arts training. But it takes decades to learn the mental focus and those other aspects which you learn through your entire life. And those are tremendously valuable in the rest of your life, as you can imagine. Certainly in business, a lot of the same skills that an entrepreneur needs, which is focus and emotional control. Certainly a CEO needs emotional control. You can't let the shareholders know that the company's not doing well. You have to be able to like a president, present an image of where you want to go.
I think Donald Trump could benefit from this.
I was thinking the same thing.
Although he's doing a lot better these days.
Yeah, he is. But I watched Obama's speech last night. We're in the middle of the convention right now, and so inspirational. It's what a president should be.
Yes.
I think, and certainly, if, again, an entrepreneur, you should have that sort of thing to be able to articulate your vision and convey the excitement that you're trying to show. So having control of your emotional state, having the focus to do that, martial arts is one of the best ways of teaching that.
Wonderful.
Because it teaches you, puts you again in harm's way, and you have to perform.
And that's what you're really doing, bringing this concept, digital samurai, to the world of business, right?
Exactly.
So, where do we begin this conversation, Martin?
Well, you know, the rules have changed in business, right? And I'm really good. One of my superpowers is I've always been really good at seeing where trends are going. Now, you know, what I wasn't really good at understanding timing, so I tried to introduce things much sooner than I should have. But I saw decades ago that social sharing, social recommendations were a currency that were really valuable in business. And now, of course, we've got social media and Facebook, and everyone knows that social storytelling is the new marketing. Anyone in marketing knows that is a lie. Social storytelling is the new marketing. You market by telling your story, not selling your stuff, right?
Yeah.
And social storytelling is a process. Gary Vaynerchuk, one of the successful digital media guys, said, like it or not, everyone now is a media company, right? Everyone's a media company, and doesn't mean everyone knows what to do in media.
Yeah.
But everybody has to tell that story, and to tell your story, you have to do it through video and presentation and social media. So that's the first thing, that social storytelling is the new way of marketing. The second key change is really been a paradigm shift in the way we use technology. It used to be that you're an entrepreneur, you start your business, you run it from your computer, your laptop, what have you. It's a centralized system, and you go to the office and there's your computer and it's got all the stuff on it. And then you go home and maybe you got a laptop, but you can't do everything because a lot of it's on the main computer and that kind of a thing. But it's changed now so that the browser has become the central part of business. So now, instead of being that your systems are all on a computer, now you can sign into a browser. And you can do that from anywhere, on any device, at any time. So that really has some tremendous implications for how you can run your business. Because now you don't have to be stuck in the office. You don't have to have everything go through one central location. And you can take 3-day weekends, go work at the cottage. You could do that every weekend if you wanted to. In fact, you could go and work in the park during the day. You could go, and your employees, your team members, whoever, can be anywhere as well.
You can sell the house in the city and just move to the cottage
Right.
permanently.
You could do that. In fact, my friend Heather, hi Heather, she's working at the cottage. We set her up. She's a client and a good friend of mine, and we set her up with the systems so that she now is working at the cottage. She was also working down in it's like in Cuba or somewhere down there. So yeah, she works now from wherever she
The
left.
closest beach, whatever
That's
the
right.
closest beach is, right?
Yeah,
A lot of tech companies are doing that right now. They're offering incredible salaries, and they're very chill, very laid back. You get to live on a beach in Hawaii. You get to live in Vietnam. We're very cool. We're very chill. Just do your
Exactly.
job. You can work from anywhere now.
That's
it
right.
It doesn't matter where you are.
And that's because this transition to where the browser is the main system. And that requires that you move your services to the cloud. And the cloud is just a simple way of saying servers owned by the Google or Microsoft or whoever it might be. We happen to use Google. So that when you use the cloud as your means of storing your information, you can access it from anywhere. And that has huge implications and advantages for an entrepreneur.
Could you give us maybe 2 or 3 little tips about how to streamline your apps and what you recommend are like the 3 best sort of social media or online marketing tools that we could use from like our iPhone or our iPad or...
Right. Well, I start by saying, you know, we have something that we call the 5 pillars of productivity.
Right.
And Digital Samurai is the fastest way to increase your productivity because you could do that with technology really quickly by making some really small changes. And so the first pillar of productivity is moving to the cloud. And that's where it starts, right? That's what I was saying in regards to the browser. You move from, say, Outlook, which is a system-based, you know, on your laptop with all your stuff there, to Google Mail. We use Google Mail because it has the most, we use Google Apps for Work because it has the most services that an entrepreneur can need. More than Microsoft, more than Apple, more than anybody. Google has all of the services that you need in one place. And sort of one of those things, you pick your battle, and then that's who you go with.
Right.
So the first thing I would say is limit your variables. Limit your variables. Don't use 4 different versions of this and switching all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Because that just puts more problems in the way, more noise.
And it
Pick your
conflicts
tools.
sometimes.
Pick your tools.
Constellation
That's
of
right.
apps.
Digital Samurai, we use very specific tools. Like we take a martial view or military view of the way that you pick your tools. We vet them, we figure out which ones they are, and then that's what we use. And we use Chrome browser. We don't use Firefox, we don't use Explorer, we don't use Edge, we don't use Safari, we use that one. Now people could argue, well, this one's better, I like this one. Well, that may be so. But it's a matter of weighing. And it's the same in martial arts. You weigh, and in business, the advantages of doing it this way versus the advantages of doing this way.
And plus, I want to say that, you know, it's often, yeah, maybe another browser is better, but like how much better?
Yeah.
And how much time you're going to spend thinking about
That's exactly it.
it, right?
Yeah.
You know, pick a tool, any tool that you can use, as long as you know how to use it.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
we know Chrome is a good browser.
Yeah.
So like it's.
And we use Chrome, and I could go over the reasons we use the various things, but stress it, we vetted them, and there's very good reasons we use everything that we use. And again, that's my superpower. That's what I'm very good at doing.
And that's, you know, so they don't have to worry about it
That's
because you've
exactly.
already thought it
So
through.
we've thought of it. And the advantage to you is of just using what we use means that you get the support. And because we know exactly what you're using and the way that you're using it, then it's easy for us to support you. I'm sure we've all had, you know, done with the support calls, whether it's through your ISP, Rogers, or whoever it might be, your call. And, you know, it's not exactly a fun experience, is it, right? You call them up, and the first 10 minutes is it plugged in, and which thing are you using, which OS do you have, and They have to spend all this time at the beginning going through all this stuff because there's so many variables.
Yeah.
But if you eliminated all those variables, we know exactly which operating system you're using, which browser, which version, which tool, then it's easy for us to support you.
And I'm thinking too that, because we were talking earlier today, that the level of complexity in terms of the number of apps that are out there, even the number of browsers. Remember when there was one browser?
Yeah.
And then there was 2 browsers.
Netscape.
Then there were 3, and now there's like, I don't know,
Yeah.
12 or something like that.
Well,
It's like,
there's way more than that, but most of them we haven't even heard of.
Yeah.
But the thing is that if I will say this, tactics are more important than technology. The way you use the tools is more important than which tool you use. And here's a good example of that. The US government, or the US military, used the same rifle, and I forget which one they were. I think it's an AR-50, something like, I don't know, I'm not a gun guy. But they used the same rifle in their army since 1965, and they just changed it. So for 40 plus years, they used the same rifle.
Right.
Because it worked. It worked when it was wet. It worked when it had sand in it. It worked when it was bent, when it was hot, when it was cold. It just worked. Because they understood that the fact that it always worked and it was reliable was way more important than the new best thing. And it's the same with technology tools. Using a tool that we know works because we vetted it and we use it for this very specific reason.
Exactly.
And we show you how to use it for this very specific
Yes.
reason, is more important than, oh, there's a new shiny object over here, and this one has this new feature, and it wines and dines and
Yes.
makes julienne fries.
It's the same thing with cell phone technology. You pick something you're comfortable with. If you're an iPhone person, you stick with your iPhone.
Yeah.
If you're a PC girl, then you stick with your Samsung phone.
That's
Don't
right.
go with the LG.
That's right.
You
That's right.
Find what works for you.
Find what works for you, and that's way more important than new best thing. So that's the
Right.
first thing. So limit your variables, stick to a tool that works. One of the coolest tools that we recommend to people, because, so I want to go back to, I talked about, it's all about social storytelling, right? You got to tell your story, no matter what business you're in. Whether you're a dentist or you're a tech guy, whatever you are, you got to tell your story, right? A good dentist talk about the kids that they have and the smiley kids, and they brought them in and he was scared of a dentist and now he's not scared of a dentist. That's the story of the dentist. If you're a production guy, you're going to tell a different story. So the story is told in an organic way. And as the founder, as the person that's the entrepreneur, the person that's the taste maker for your business, you have to do that storytelling. You can't outsource that part of it. Now you can outsource all the rest of it, but telling the story is something you have to do. And so it's a process of, oh, today you're at this shop and you found this really cool little item that your clients might like. So you got to capture that idea and make it put it into a story. So how do you do that? Well, you take a picture with your camera, maybe you take some notes or you write something down. One of the best tools for capturing ideas and information is called Google Keep. Google Keep is part of the Google architecture. So when you sign up for Google account, you get Google Keep. It's part of it, right?
Yeah.
And we have a free gift which we give away that teaches people how to use Google Keep. But the reason it's great is because it's really easy to capture a note, a voice note, a list, an idea, or an image. And it's a very low friction way of doing that because you don't have to save, you don't have to back up, and if you can see it on your phone, you have access to it, even if you don't have internet. So it's really low friction way of working. So if you see, you're walking down the street, oh, there's something I think would be great for my, to show my tribe in social media, you take a picture of it with your camera, but in Google Keep, so that you can put notes with it. And you put a keyword, so image of boat for my Facebook page, and then you save it.
Is it a storytelling thing where you can label each collage as, okay, this is my trip to Africa, and then
Kind
you
of.
just put little notes and things
it looks
in
a
that,
bit
in
like
that
it looks a
folder?
bit like Pictionary, or not Pictionary. Is it? What's the picture? Is that what it's called? Pictionary? No, it's not Pictionary. You know the site I'm talking about, right? The name just went out of my head. No, pick something to write.
It's not Snapchat.
No.
It's
Well,
something else.
it looks like a whole bunch of Post-it notes. You can have different colored notes and different colored
Pinterest.
Pinterest. Yeah. That's one of the social ones I don't use. But
Yeah.
yes, it looks a bit like Pinterest. So it's a whole bunch of different notes. We can put our picture up on the screen, actually. And so you can make a list, so a grocery list. And here's the thing. You can share that list with your friend or with your coworker and automatically repopulate. So if you have a grocery list and you put something on the list on Google Keep, and then you say to your friend to go out to the grocery store and get it, and then you remember something after they've left, you just put it on the list, and it'll automatically go onto their list.
Oh, that's fantastic. So it works really well for your assistants, for your
Yes.
for
Exactly.
your personal assistants.
Your personal assistants.
It's on online,
It's a fantastic
live,
collaboration tool.
Live collaboration, communication
Yeah,
tool.
and you can do that for, as I say, a voice note, an image, a note, a list, any of the ways that you would capture this information to then be distributed. So later when we get to the office, maybe something goes in your calendar. Or then now you're going to email that particular thing that you saw to somebody, or what have you. But the capturing of that information in an organic way, because that's the way it will work, right? We're walking down the street, we see something, oh yeah, that reminds us of what we might want to use. It's an organic process. It's not this, okay, now we're going to be constructive. We sit down, right? It's this organic process as you live you're going to capture these things, you're going to see things, and you're going to remember things. I have a list called To Do. I have a list called podcast interview questions. So when I think something that I might want to add to that, I add it to my podcast interview questions, right? So Google Keep is kind of like your first responder, your first order of business of capturing the information that you're then going to deploy in all these other areas. And because you don't have to worry about saving it or backing up or losing your data, or if you're online, it's what I call a low friction way of doing it. And so I don't use paper anymore, because why would I? I have a tablet, I have a phone, I have 5 computers, and as soon as I enter something on Keep on this one, it's automatically on all of those devices. So why would I use paper?
What app do you use for your planner, your daily planner? Because I'm old-fashioned, and I still like looking at it in the morning and writing things down.
Yeah.
So.
Well, again, it's that weighing thing. Yeah, a lot of people do like writing. I'm not one of them. But I must say, until I used Keep a couple years ago, I still did write little notes on paper because it was the fastest way to get from my brain onto there. But now, because Keep is so easy, I don't. But for calendar stuff, I use Google Calendar. Again, because of the advantages of collaboration and teaming and sharing, and some other huge advantages. So, for instance, the meeting today, I put it in my calendar, and I put the address in my calendar. Because my whole systems are integrated, my phone told me what time I had to leave to get here based on traffic and how I said I was going to travel. So it knows my schedule, it knows where I am, and it knows where I need to go. So it's incredibly valuable. Google Now and Siri are the 2 systems that do that. Siri is Apple's, and Google Now is Google's. And when you integrate your calendar with your phone and your map systems and your account, it can do that. It can tell you based on traffic, based on transit, based on also real-time data. So it'll tell you you have to leave early because there's a traffic jam.
It's amazing.
It's like you have your own personal assistant.
I just got back from Boston, and the day of my flight, it was telling me your flight is at 2:45. I never told Google that, but the flight was emailed to me.
Exactly, and therefore
so the email contained the flight information, and Google put a little note on my phone saying your flight's at 2:45.
Yeah, exactly.
And how much traffic it's going to take to get there. And
exactly. And so that outweighs to me the benefits of writing it. Yeah, you're used to doing it that way, but the value of making electronic is that the system can automatically, proactively tell you information that would be relevant to you, such as that.
So this is okay. So I'm just so what you're doing, at least in part, sounds like you are providing people with a constellation of technology that is and showing them how to use it, and it's integrated so that it's really helping them. And this is what I've been saying for a long time. What the world needs is people to do the research, choose the tools that are going to help people just live their lives, right? Yeah. To achieve their human objectives instead of being wagged by the
Wow,
technology.
That's a really good way of saying it, too. That's exactly it. Because it really gives you flexibility to live your life. I like to say blur the line between work and play. You know, it's interesting because I was watching Bill Maher, I love Bill Maher, Real Time with Bill Maher the other day, and he was talking about, in his new rule, people have to get, this separation between work and state so that, they shut off their email and they don't have to do this and this. And I'm thinking, well, in the old guard, that really is only the case if you don't like your job. If you hate your job, yeah, I don't want to be bugged by email after 5 p.m. after I leave or whatever. Yeah. But if you love what you're doing, and what we're all about is working with entrepreneurs who love what they're doing, then work, play, those words don't really mean so much.
That's true. It's like in the old paradigm, you give up 8 hours a day, 5 days a week to do what somebody else wants you to do. And that's called a job.
So you can live on the weekend.
But now, it's like if you're an entrepreneur and you're doing what you love, then you're right. That there is no work, play. Yeah.
And so maybe I want to go out with the kids this morning because there's a special opening of something at the museum. And so I'll do my work later. And while the kids are in their whatever, doing whatever. I'm going to be on my pad outside, looking at my Amazon store or updating my whatever it is. And then the kids come out, and then we go off to do something else and have lunch. And then in the evening, I'm going to do a bit more work. It's this organic approach to your life where it's not this rigid thing. So the kids say, hey, Dad, can we go to Canada's Wonderland tomorrow? Sure. I only have to look at what I'm doing. Your mom will drive. I'll work on the way there for an hour, and then we'll do some, right? In fact, I talk about that kind of, imagine you could do that sort of work environment. It's not that you're working any less. I work just as much as the next guy, but if I decide I want to take off the morning, I can do that. If I decide I want to take off the day, I can do that. Then I'll just do more work on Saturday, right?
Yes.
And the more you can, one, automate these processes of what your work is, so your social media stuff and your posting. I mean, I post every day to my social media. It's a chore, right? But I have it very slick, so it's all boom, 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 boom. And ultimately, I'll get the physical work of posting it. I'll outsource that more when I've got more of those systems in place.
Okay, so what then? Okay, so like, who are your target clients, and what, if you, in your words, describe what you are delivering to these clients?
Yeah.
What is the program, or what is the product or the service?
Well, we were talking about this today with one of my associates, and we were talking about what the demographic is. And he actually, it's been a challenge figuring that out. And he said to me, well, it's more of a psychographic, and it's exactly that. So it's a successful entrepreneur who's running their business, does not want to be bothered with all the technology stuff. They just want simple, intuitive, seamless, elegant solutions that work. So they're not questioning why, because I'll say to them, well, why do you care what we're using this? You should be focusing on what you're good at, right? So that's the first thing, that they want simple solutions that work. Secondly, they're of a size that they've got a team, so they're not necessarily working by themselves. They got a team, but they don't have an in-house IT guy. They don't have an in-house marketing department. And so they've got to make those decisions themselves. And again, maybe they don't know about Facebook marketing and all these other things, so who do they turn to?
And how to delegate each responsibility to whom, and not be overwhelmed with all these things.
So that's the second thing, that they have those. And the third thing is that they're looking for more time freedom. They want more of this laptop lifestyle, if you will, being able to work from anywhere, take 3-day weekends, go to the cottage, work from the beach, go with the kids to something. I say to people, if you can go to your kid's ball game, and so you have to work on your computer a bit, or maybe do a phone call or something, is that not better than you not being able to go at all, ever, to your kid's game, right? So maybe you have to take out 10 minutes and go off and do something, and then you can go back and cheer him when he gets the home run. Which would you prefer, right? So this integrated way of doing it so that you can work from there. So you have that big proposal to do, well, you can do it from the bleachers, right?
Yeah.
I can run my entire business from any one of my devices. I can access all my files. I can send files. I did that just today when we came in, right? We're talking about some graphics. I said, sure, I'll get you the graphics, and I just sent them right to the email sitting right here. So if you can do that, and it gives you that flexibility, that's the third thing. So one, you want solutions that just work. Two, you're big enough that you've got a team, but not so much that you have an in-house marketing team and IT.
So what does that mean? Do you offer then that,
that's
say,
right.
the IT services
right.
to?
So because we limit all the variables and create a complete technology solution for you, we can go in and we'll set you up with those 5 pillars. And I should mention the 5 pillars. The first one we mentioned, moving to the cloud.
Yeah,
right?
I was going to ask you about that.
Second one is data management. Really big. We're all working with gigabytes and terabytes of data these days. So managing your data so you can find it when you need it is key. We have protocols all around that. The third one, and very important, but most people neglect this, is privacy and security. And most people are all about privacy, but they're lax in security. And you can't have one without the other. So we have protocols around that, where we use extremely strong passwords with letters, cases, numbers, and symbols. But you don't have to remember them. We use a password management system and various protocols to to do that. So privacy and security is the third one. We set you up with that, so you will not be hacked, you will not have those problems, and you will not have to remember any passwords.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. The fourth one is business communications. That's an interesting thing because people use the wrong tools for the wrong communications. And we have very specific tools that we use. SMS, for instance, text messaging. We never use that because it's a terrible means of communication. Now, we replace that with WhatsApp. WhatsApp is now it's owned by Facebook, but it's a text messaging system that has all the benefits that SMS doesn't have. SMS, right, text messaging, you don't know if they got it. Sometimes it's late. Sometimes it doesn't work at all. And between systems like iPhone and Android, the picture may or may not get there. I'm sure everyone's had those issues, right?
Right.
Right? Well, WhatsApp doesn't have any of those issues. And so that's what we use for texting. And they just introduced end-to-end encryption. So nobody can see what you're saying. They can't even, if the government was to subpoena your records, they can't get at it, right? So it's very secure. That's why businesses used to use BlackBerry, because they had encryption and it was all on their servers. So WhatsApp now has the same thing.
Wow.
And we use Google Hangouts, but we use it for text messaging, just internal messaging. But we don't use it for video because it's not very good for video. For video conferencing, we use Zoom because it's very good for that.
Not Skype?
Skype is not good at text messaging. Skype is a resource hog that screws up your system after you've run it usually. In fact, now it's owned by Microsoft, I'm not surprised. It's come up on my systems automatically in the last couple days. I didn't tell it to start.
Microsoft really knows how to ruin software.
They do.
Don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Okay, Microsoft, please stop loading your Skype automatically every time I turn on my computer.
I know. What's with that?
I never told you to do
I
that.
never told it to do that. But yeah, no, Skype doesn't play well with others. You use Skype because it's got a huge community and some people are in it. But that's the only reason I would use it. From a communication standpoint, it doesn't play well with others.
But
it's not streamlined.
Hangouts is only for Google users. So what if somebody doesn't have Hangouts because they have like an iPhone? So then what would be a good video chat?
It's not only for Google users. And we use Hangouts for chat. So the Hangouts is available on all the platforms for that. For video, Zoom, again, is also available on all the platforms. Basically, most of the things we use are available I say all the platforms, really. The iPhone and Android.
Okay.
Some of them available on BlackBerry as well, but we don't recommend those right now because, again, it's not the best tool for the job.
So Zoom is the best thing for video calling.
Right.
Right.
Now, for more communications interactions, Slack is the latest, coolest thing. Actually, Microsoft looked at buying Slack, thankfully. They didn't.
What is Slack? I don't even know what
Slack,
that is.
well, they call themselves a communications platform. And so for enterprise communication, for internal communications, you can send a little message to the relevant. But it's more than that, because what it allows you to do is add a whole bunch of plugins for different stuff. So you can add plugins for Google Docs and for Dropbox and for YouTube and for these other things, so that when someone puts a link in there, and instead of seeing just the link with Slack plugin, you'll see the actual document or the actual PDF. So that means they don't have to go to the link and click it and open it to see that, and that saves time, right?
Wow.
It's more efficient. So Slack is a really good internal communication tool. If you're saying, hey, check out this copy for our new ad, most people would send that as an attachment in email. Super inefficient. Slack, you can assign a channel, for instance, to marketing, right? And the channel for Slack allows you to pin stuff to it, has search and other tools that make it very easy for you to manage data, right? Email is very bad at managing data because it's a linear thing. Today you get these ones, and then you get these ones, and then you get these ones. So in 2 weeks, you have to scroll, 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 and find that one. And maybe you'll find it, maybe you won't, and maybe it's buried in the conversation. And it doesn't have very good tools for finding and managing data. So we avoid email. In fact, internally, we don't use email.
I was going to ask you about
really?
that
Yeah.
because I think email has seen better days.
Oh,
it
I think
has.
it's way
Yeah,
past
yeah.
its.
It has.
It's
There's no-
taken up people's time now. It's not an efficiency anymore.
That's
it's a
exactly
drag.
it. And we have all kinds of protocols around the way we set up email to manage that flow. So basically, you only see the primary things that you need. And that's because Google has a really good way of doing that. But beyond that, we just don't use it.
Yeah.
We don't use it with clients.
Yeah.
We set them up with Slack.
It
We don't
takes
use it
longer.
with partners because we
Right.
use these other tools. Exactly.
Like you said, you have to download it. Sometimes it won't download. Or
Sometimes they can't read the file if
You
they don't
don't
have the
get
right
it.
file reader. Whereas if they're set up with Slack and you've gone through the protocols to do this stuff, then they're going to be able to see it. So Slack is really good for sharing data and pictures and getting approvals and going back and forth between a group. The worst thing with emails is when you get those, reply to all and you're getting 12 emails about this one thing. What do you think of it? I think the period should be in blue. And you got 4. No, I think it should be in red. And you got 5 emails from people talking about the color of the freaking period.
I
Right?
know. It's group messaging.
Group
It's a
messaging,
nightmare.
very, very bad. Slack is much better at doing that because it doesn't do it in that way. It's designed for that, and it's designed, again, with all these plugins to allow you to easily see what, so someone sends you a picture, you're going to see it right there, and you can comment it, and you can make points, and there's other tools to use it.
So similarly to Google Drive, where you send someone the link and then they can access the file, is Slack the same way where you would just send them a link and they could access the file, or do they have to download the app?
Well, Slack is like the platform, so I would send the link to the Google Drive or the Google Docs piece in Slack. And because I have the Slack Google Docs plugin, they would see the link to, so it wouldn't just say Google Doc, blah, 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 and you have to click on it to see, it would show them what that actual link is right in Slack. Because Slack has the Google Docs plugin, and Google Sheets plugin, and Google Slides plugin.
No, it sounds like, it might be a little mind-boggling for people who haven't even heard of Slack like myself. But the thing is, what you're doing, you're providing all of this as a package, and you're
Exactly.
showing people how to use it.
That's right. And more to the point, we're telling them exactly how to set it up.
And
Because
what
it's
it's
one
good
thing to
for.
know what
Yeah.
to use, but again, I say tactics are more important. Best practices are more important than the technology. So what's really important is how it's set up. I have like a 4-page thing of how to set up mail, right? And we don't even use mail that much. So these tools, we not only show you which tool to use, how to use it, but we set it up first so it has all these features built in.
Right.
Again, that simple, elegant, seamless, as you said,
That's fantastic.
solution. That's what people want. They want it to just work. They want to pick it up and just da-da-da-da-da-da. They don't want to have to jump through gyrations and hoops first to do that.
I think
Now-
this is genius,
Now,
what
is this
he's
something
doing.
just for individual entrepreneurs, or it's something like a small company? You can come in and set everybody up with the same tools.
Absolutely.
That's actually going to
Teams.
help them
Yeah.
work better as a team.
That's right. In fact, that's who we work with more. I've been working on this for a lot of years, and one of the things I've learned, it's interesting, it's learning what you're good at,
Yeah.
that takes time, but learning what you're not good at, that takes even more time.
Yeah.
And it took me a while and also, I see this, again, this is my superpower. I'm really good at seeing the connections. I read it, there was a show called Heroes, right? And the bad guy, Siler, he had a superpower. It's called intuitive aptitude. And it was, he could see complex systems and how they all work together, right? And the cogs in a clock and wheel, he could see that, and it was as plain as day to him. Well, that's the way I see technology. I see all these pieces and how they work together, and this one's good at this, and that one's good at that, and this is how it all works together to make this elegant solution. But understanding that and being able to articulate it to somebody are two different things. So I saw that, to me that's easy. But what isn't easy is explaining it to you, right? So that's what's taken me years and years. And now I kind of understand why. It's because to me it seems painfully obvious. I can see, well, that works with this. Don't you see that? No, nobody did, right? So putting it in language and creating systems that I could then show to other people.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's what took me years.
Absolutely.
Okay?
I love this idea. I just have to say that it's marvelous.
Thank you.
And the ancient samurai strategy behind it makes it even more exciting, because martial arts teaches discipline, and for people who are disorganized in their life, who are ADD, take a kung fu class, okay? It'll help you with your ADD. So you've applied the martial arts, fine-tuning, the refinement and the discipline and the focus to the technology world, and how overwhelming it can be.
Exactly. And here's the thing, people won't do things if they're difficult to do. And that is sort of the litmus test for me for a lot of this stuff. That's why I'm so big on keep. Because capturing ideas and information is so core to running a business, right? That's what you're doing. You're thinking of ideas and things to do, and this person, I have to do that. That's what it's all about. And so keep is by far the easiest way to do that, because it's simple and easy and elegant. But it's also about you. You have to then take that stuff and move it to the calendar, or make the Slack note, or whatever it must be.
Fabulous.
So Digital Samurai really is about the person. It is a martial art from the standpoint of it's making you a better entrepreneur.
Following the chi of your business.
Exactly. But it does that in the simplest way possible. Again, if you had to climb Mount Everest to make this work, you wouldn't do it. And I understand that. So we made the process very simple for people, so that they can follow it. But you still have to do it. You have to do the stuff. You have to follow the protocols. But that's the easy part. You just follow the protocols. And, for instance, one of our protocols is housekeeping. And housekeeping is just archiving the stuff that you're supposed to archive, moving the things to the list that they're supposed to be doing, cleaning up your out inbox, using the stars and the different tools that we do. Right?
Wow.
You have to do that stuff every day. It's not hard to do, but you have to do it. If you don't do it, you can have a mess, and the systems won't work very well.
Right.
So what's the first step from, after this interview, people watching it, like that? First of all, who do you want to speak to? Who are the people that should get in touch with you? And then what is the first step? So
as I say, these entrepreneurs who have a team that they don't have an in-house tech, they don't have in-house marketing, but they need that sort of support. And they're looking for more time freedom, and they're also somewhat disciplined, and they don't mind being, learning focus and tactics and doing that kind of thing. You say, I'm a scatterbrain, I would never do that kind of thing, and I wouldn't. Well, you're probably not a candidate for Digital Samurai.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for those answers, we have them, and you believe that you're a person that could follow that stuff in order to get to where you want to be, which is more time freedom to go do what's important to you, then we can certainly help you. And we start with, I have a masterclass training we just did, which has a lot of this stuff in it. So if they go to digitalsamurai.mobi, you'll see the free masterclass training. They can watch that, and that'll teach them a lot of these things that we're talking about. And then they can set up a strategy call with us to see if there's a good fit with Digital Samurai.
That's great.
Wonderful.
So
What's your website?
digitalsamurai.mobi.
Okay.
M-O-B-I.
Yeah.
And as I say, there's things on that site, and you'll learn a lot just from watching the master class.
Okay.
And that'll give you a lot of information as to what we can do for you, and if it fits, then set up a strategy call.
Okay, cool.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well,
now,
it's been such a pleasure having you here today.
Yeah, and we shot some B-roll before we came on, so maybe we'll go out with some B-roll.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Roll
some
the credits over or something
stuff.
like that, and
at some point I'm going to develop a sword program around this as well, because sword is a really good way of practicing mental focus. So
yeah.
I would again really recommend martial arts to anybody, but certainly you don't have to be a martial artist to do this, but you do have to have a martial thought process, and kind of a process of wanting to better yourself and do the things that it takes to get to the lifestyle that you want.
Well, it seems to me that's what you're bringing to business. You're really bringing that martial arts mindset to
Yeah.
entrepreneurship and to the
Exactly.
people that are going to get in touch and
Exactly.
get
Yeah.
on the Digital Samurai program.
And the
So-
thing is, the tools are all there now. That's the thing. Most of these tools are free. They have upgrades that you can pay once you get into them. But you can really start with virtually all of these tools. Google Apps Work costs $5 a month per user. So I mean, it's very inexpensive to do this. The tools are available for everyone. It's just how you use them, and that's what we can help with.
Okay, awesome. All right, Martin. Thanks for doing this today.
Thank you very
And,
much. It's a
we look
pleasure.
Thank
Forward to
you.
having you back next time, and best of luck, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Okay.
So that-
Arigato gozaimasu.
Arigato.
That's it for the show for today, people. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time right here, that channel.